Good morning. I'd like to thank our witnesses for joining us today to share their testimony and expertise. I would also like to thank the ranking member, Mr. Crawford, for his commitment to making freight and rail safety the safest way to ship goods. The safety of the rail industry remains one of the most important issues facing this subcommittee, and it is why we included several safety provisions in the INVEST Act. Today, we will hear two panels with unique insight into safe operations of the freight rail system. First, we will hear from Amit Bose, the administrator of the Federal Rail Administration, whose primary role is ensuring safety of our nation's railroads. He'll be joined by Tom Chapman, a member of the National Transportation Safety Board, which investigates significant railroad accidents and recommends ways on preventing future ones. These two agencies play distinct roles in ensuring the safety of freight rail and protecting the workers and surrounding communities from rail accidents. Our second panel will be an opportunity to hear from representatives of the workers, the railroads, who confront these safety issues every day. The NTSB's 21-22 Most Wanted list of transportation safety improvements includes a call to improve safety for rail workers. Their recommendations speak to recurring safety issues impacting rail workers. These include better track protection, proper training, and job briefings and access to protective equipment. Most importantly, it calls for work schedules and limitations to prevent workers from working overtime while fatigued. Railway worker fatigue is one of the most persistent and pressing issues facing our national transportation system. It is a condition we've known about for years, but have not solved. Just last week, the FRA took a major step to address this with their final fatigue risk management rule, and I look forward to hearing more about that from our witnesses today. The freight rail industry has lost nearly a third of its workforce in the past 8 years. The workers who remain report that they are being worked harder with longer and more unpredictable hours. They say these conditions are worsening fatigue and making an industry that's inherently demanding even tougher to work for. Cutting labor costs may have made Wall Street happy, but it's left our national rail system more rigid and less able to respond to the ongoing supply chain shocks. The increased pressures on rail workers have made it harder for railroads to retain workers or recall them from furlough. It takes several months to fully train a rail crew. These trainings cannot be rushed as we seek to fill vacancies created when the railroads laid off workers, both before and during the COVID-19 pandemic. Not having enough rail workers isn't just a problem with the lack of conductors and engineers, it is across the freight rail industry. This includes the carmen who inspect and repair rail cars and maintenance of the way workers who build, inspect, maintain, and repair track, bridges, and rights-of-way. We are pleased that these workers are represented here today, and we look forward to hearing their testimony. It is through the diligent work of every actor in the rail space, rail workers, railroads, and regulators that freight rail has made significant strides to move goods safely across this nation. There's been, however, a plateauing of safety improvements in recent years, and the Class I railroads' adoption of PSR has added new complications. This is why this committee is concerned. We are concerned that the recent attempts to reduce short-term costs have had a negative impact on safety practices and the historically proud railroad safety culture. And today's hearing is intended to consider some of these current issues. I would like again to thank all the witnesses for joining us today, and I now yield to the ranking member, Mr. Crawford, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you holding this hearing.